So today I decided to take a nice little walk at the park. Nothing special. The type of park where people take their dogs to just to, co-mate with other animals. I was just taking, a walk around the concrete sidewalk, and as I'm walking towards this woman, she didn't have a dog, so the dog part was actually very relevant to continue the story, but she was just walking. She had her like little Beats earphones in. Tell she had like the work outfit in, and she had like the little sleeve thing you put your phone in, so sweat doesn't get into it. Good investment. And I noticed like as she walking, I was like, yeah, she looks like a lot of other blonde girls. Nothing to take note here. She takes out one earphone, she starts looking at me, and I'm like, okay. So I just gave her the old head nod, like as a courteous, like I acknowledge your presence. She's like, oh my god, Clint, and I'm like, yeah. And I was looking like, did I leave a name tag on from a previous job I had or something? It's like, it's like, it's me, and she says her name. I'm not gonna say her name because I don't want to, give her clout. Call anything involving me with clout is a funny sentence within itself. So it's like, it's me. And I'm like, at first I didn't recognize it. Let's start looking. I'm like, oh my God, it's you. And she proceeded to, oh my God, like anytime you run into someone you haven't seen in a while, even if you were never really like friends or nothing like that, but you just kind of by default knew each other, you have to like pretend to give a fuck about their updated status on life. It's just like an excuse for you to tell people how great you're doing. So I'm always at the advantage there, anyways. So she asked me, "Oh my God, how have you been, Clint?" I was like, "You pretty well. Can't complain." As a courteous, you always ask the same response. How about yourself? And she's like, "Never been better." And she said it with such a smile. And I look her a little bit up and down. I'm like, I look at her body. Looks like gained a few lbs since the last time I saw her. She seemed a little flustered. She seemed like she's been through a cold winter, bunkering down. And I was like, you sure about that? Never been better? I mean, I guess by default, if you're in any interaction, unless you're talking about this moment specifically, yeah, it's probably never been better than this interaction with me. Because any interaction with me, I would only assume, I don't have a big ego or nothing, but I only assume anyone that's ever, had a long interaction with me or a fairly considerable amount of time of interaction, I'm pretty sure it's probably the best parts of their day or a year or a lifetime. Because I'm just that type of guy, right? And I was like, you're saying you've literally never been better? Because I can literally remember in my head when you were doing better. And then she looks me straight in the eye. I thought she was about to call me an asshole, even though I was just, poking the bear. No pun intended, that she was the shape of one. And I thought she was about to, like, demean me and call me misogynist. I thought she was about to, undress me. Not literally, but undress me in terms of who I am as a person and nitpick little things about myself. And she just starts crying. She breaks down. And I'm like, yes, I made a woman feel something on the inside. It's a great feeling. She starts crying. She's like, I've been miserable. I've been terrible. Oh, I've been trying to find my way out, but I just can't. And I put my hand on her shoulder and I say, I can tell. Welcome to episode 60 of the Off and Beat podcast. God, Oh God, such an asshole. I'll just say a disclaimer. None of that ever actually happened today. I did not go to a park, and I would never tell someone who is blatantly apparent that they've, looked different, gained weight, or, don't. You tell when someone's not feeling good about themselves. I would never make them feel like that. But man, I was working on some writing today, and I was like, I was working on like some short story stuff. And man, that would be. The sad part is, it sounds like this extreme, exaggerated, satirical stuff like that. Like, you wouldn't think anyone with a reasonable amount of awareness or even half decency, even like one of the biggest assholes in the world, wouldn't sit there and be like, you sure you never been better? You may think of it in your head, and you just kind of go with it. Like, all right, I don't even know you well enough to even sit here and critique. I don't know what's been going on in your life. You could have had your mom and dad die on the same day, Final Destination style. I would gain a lot of weight if that happened to me too. You could have got divorced. You could have, your dog could have died. But, you know, things like that can make you some things you don't want to be. And the crazy part is that those things are actually, I feel like those interactions probably really do happen. Like, really, really do happen. Like, I'm pretty sure if you were to survey like 100, it doesn't even have to be girls, it could be 100 people, and talk about, has there been any interaction in the last year that made you feel so uncomfortable after, or made you feel so worse about yourself after? And the reason why you feel worse wasn't even necessary that it happened. I'm pretty sure 100% of us would be like, yeah, had a few of those. But what most of us probably don't realize is that we're probably the people that made the other person feel highly, highly uncomfortable and put them on the spot in a negative way, made them feel less of themselves. I mean, Jesus. I mean, I know, like, here's the thing. I know people that would say that to their friends. Like, if you ran into someone and the basic catch up, I call it the catch up interaction happens, where you pretend to give a shit about what's been happening in each other's lives, where it's like, I mean, if you really care about what's happening in my life, like, probably would have texted or called one time in the past 2.5 years. You know, it's not like, you know what, this walk in the park, run into this person, I really want to know everything. How's life been? How's the babies? How's the house? How's their job? Are they happy? I wonder if they're single. Like, you know what? I don't really think most people give a fuck to do all that. We just do it because it's kind of just like courtesy. There's like societal things that we just do as a whole to kind of keep things moving and be generous and be, just because you never know what someone's going through in their day. That interaction could have been the difference between just them talking to a human being and someone just asking about their day. That could have just made like their next 5 hours of their day feel this endorphin on top of the world feeling. And then that's fine if like 30 minutes after you went to go and meet up a friend and you talk about, this fat bitch I just ran into? Oh my gosh, she's gained a lot of weight. Oh, Jesus. Whew, man. Thank God I fucked her sister. Oh, man. It's like, man, she's been through the ringer. She's been ran through by God's emotions and proprieties. God has really been testing her this year. Which is kind of weird how they say, as a side note, it's always weird to me, like, God's to answer your solutions. But if God gives you the answers and solutions, if he's the reason for your success, isn't he also the reason for your failures? Isn't he also the reason for for putting for testing you. Like when people like, God has really been testing me this year. It's like, nah, God just like, hey, yeah, here's some obstacles you're gonna have to do to better yourself. Maybe, you know, don't fuck it up. Wouldn't really say, hey, God's like, hey, man, you're gonna need to get your money up, and if you don't, I'm gonna put all these unexpected hospital bills on yourself. You're gonna have a heart attack this year. It's like, yeah, see, I had a heart attack because God was testing me. It's like, nah, you were testing your heart by eating Quick Trip hot dogs every day and drinking our sponsor, Ghost Energy Drink. Sometimes you just want one, sometimes you want four, and your throat starts hurting. I'm the absolute worst sponsor ever. No one should ever give me their product to sponsor because it's pretty apparent I'm not very good at pumping up a product that I don't feel is good for other people. But Ghost, oh man, it'll make you feel like a ghost because you'll be dead from the heavy heart rate and the heart attacks and the thinning your blood. And it's really, oh, God was just testing me. He wanted to see how I would handle adversity. It's like, nah, you completely like just ate like shit for a year and a half straight. Of course you're gonna have a heart attack. You've been just consuming McRibs like it's apples. Like one a day isn't supposed to be for McRibs. It's supposed to be for one a day apples, one a day vitamins, one a day cup of rice, one a day workouts. Like, you do not learn about moderation. God can't teach you moderation. It's called fucking cut out the shit. That's why you get a heart attack. Jesus. Or just don't do fentanyl. I don't know. But maybe we just need to be a little bit more courteous to each other. I know that sounds like a simple way of putting the obvious, but it seems like people only care about the obvious. So I'm going to keep it obvious. And obviously, it's pretty obvious that I'm an obvious dude to figure out. I would never go up to a person just randomly and be like, hey, wow. The first time I'm like, wow, you really must have a couple people die close to you this year because, man, you were packing on the LBs. You literally look like an LB, a linebacker. And not well built. You're 240, but you're not muscle. You are not. You do not look like Patrick Willis. You do not look like Ray Lewis. You look more like Sarah Lee Pies. Because, man, God 314. That's a psalm, right? But yeah. Pivot. Actually, I saw this Bill Burr. Someone did I'm assuming it was a while ago, but Bill Burr, the comedian, on his podcast or whatever, he did he I guess when the song "Life Is Good" with Drake and Future, working on the weekend like usual, that song. He was like, "What is with?" He just rants for like I guess a couple minutes about. What is with these, what is, like, oh, you work for the weekend. Welcome to the fucking world. It's like, this is how you become successful. You work on the weekends. And he was, what is with rappers always telling me how hard they're working? Like, you know, it's just like fun. But someone online took the instrumental from that song and put it over him speaking, and they remixed some of the, like, auto-tune and some of the things with the words he's saying, like usual, and they make like the voice kind of like mixed into the song, and it was, I don't know why it was so fucking funny because he's not even rapping, he was just speaking, and they put over instrumental, and I was like, you know, why is this smack? as the kids say, smack. Smack my food. And I am eating this up. And now I'm eating you alive. I think that's bestial. Nope, that it's actually just eating cannibals and cannibalizing the minute point of view. I just need a dog and I need to. I wish you would come by and pick up your fucking dog before I throw him through the window and he lands 3 stories down outside. Yeah, moral of the story is come pick up your fucking dog. Assuming there's someone that fills out there. I feel like there's always someone in an apartment complex babysitting, watching over someone's dog, because I'm always hearing dogs barking. And I'm going to have a small speculation that I'm pretty sure they're not paying the animal, the pet deposit monthly, which I don't care. But, that would be a weird thing if you got evicted because you didn't want to pay extra $100 a month on your dog. Which is kind of weird. It's like one of those things, like, I've thought about getting a dog. I thought about getting a cat. But it's like, do I really want to pay $200 plus food and everything for a dog, for an animal? I'm not ready for that. You don't add unnecessary bills. You don't go out and adopt a kid when you're making $15K a year. That doesn't financially make sense. Like, you got to be aware of when you take care of living things. Like, you don't get a pet snake and put in like a aquarium thing, but then you don't have mice that you can afford to feed it. I mean, I guess you could go to the back of a Dollar Scoop. That was a terrible fucking joke. I feel like, I will say this though, side note, Dollar Scoop, Chinese places, everyone knows what I'm talking about, even though now it's more like $1.25 a scoop. They just keep moving the price. Personally, it's going to be like $2 scoops, which is still a deal, but I will say over time, I went through a couple month phase where I was eating that stuff a couple times a week, which is not something you should do. Most of the chicken tastes okay. Most of the beef tastes okay. But man, here's the thing. When the chicken gets old and when the food there gets old and you actually start like tasting on the inside, it's like, some of these things don't really taste right. Some of these things, they're a little crunchy in places they shouldn't be. Maybe they just overcooked it. Maybe. But one day, I actually, I took a bite of some honey chicken, right? No, not honey chicken. General Tso chicken. General Tso chicken there is a whole lot different than if you go to a takeout. Like a $9, $10 takeout chicken white rice. It's a completely different thing when you get it from a Dollar Scoop. Honey chicken and crispy chicken is kind of the safety. When you start getting the General Tso and sesame chicken, these Dollar Scoop places, you really gotta. And the thing is, when you question the food you're eating, if it's maybe a different animal than what is being portrayed, you pay so much attention to what's possibly wrong about the food that when you take each bite, you're not even enjoying. You're just chewing slowly. And you're just like, I hope I don't start tasting like some ribs in here. Hope I don't start tasting some cat molars or some, dog bones. And you know the difference between like, there's no chicken bones in freaking and freaking frozen chicken that they get and cook it. There's no bones that are accidentally getting in there. Unless the myths are true. And I remember I always eat with a spoon. I took a bite of this one piece of chicken. I took it and I was like, I feel like did I just bite my own teeth like in the wrong way? And so I pull out the chicken, I spit into a napkin, right? I'm like, wow. And like I noticed like this thing sticking out. I'm like, what the fuck? So I lay it out. I go to the kitchen, lay it out on the kitchen table. It looks like a biology class. It's like you're dissecting a frog, except you're probably dissecting a cat in this situation. And I like break the shit apart, right? And I look, and I notice like this, like there's these two bone thingies. But I'm like, why is there bone in boneless chicken? And once you like, I couldn't even eat the rest of the food, right? Because after that, it was like my stomach's got a little nauseous. Probably from eating there 3 times a week more than anything. But I remember this specific night. I went late at night. I went like 5 minutes before they closed. So I knew I wasn't going to get the best of the best. But god damn. Like, and I was just like, man, that's one of those like turning points. Like, man, I really need to change some things in my life. That's one of those things where it really makes you like, I'm really not giving a fuck what I put in my body. I really need to reconsider some things in my life. Those are one of those like life changing moments. That's one of those things where it's like almost like you had to have it happen to you for you to appreciate what. I was like, you know what? I will pay the extra $4 and go get some real takeout Chinese with rice and shit and pay the extra. I've been back to the Dollar Scoop a few times since, but it is not the scoop I would prefer to go to. But yeah, talk about you're gonna need a. Oh Jesus! You know what they should do instead of the little ladle scoops they have to scoop your chicken? They should just get like the cat litter pooper scooper and just do it with your chicken anyways, since there's probably some leftover waste and excess from the kitty witties. Like, just imagine that process though, right? Like it's one of those American made myths where the reality is like 92% of these takeout Chinese places and these buffet Chinese places and these Americanized Chinese takeout places, 92% of them probably do not practice the skinning cats in the back alley method. If you really, most of them, they just get a shipment of these fake chicken, and then notice how all the takeout Chinese places are always the fucking same. Your meal, if they're not busy, it will be ready in 8 to 10 minutes. Always. Because it takes the same amount of time to cook the chicken. Because all they do, the chicken's already pre-cooked. They just got to put in the saucepan and do all the shit and cook the rice. And if you get some egg rolls, whatever. Same process. I really think all these House Saloon #5 and House of China #4, it's always weird when they add numerical, even though it's weird because these places, there's so many of them. Some of them are named the fucking same, like Hong Kong cuisine, like China Panda, Panda China. They always just move the words around. It always involves a panda. It always involves Hong Kong, China. Sometimes Taiwan, or it'll just be Chinese cuisine. It'll be general chicken. It'll be general Chinese. Like, they just move shit around. Fine. Chinese is like my favorite food, so this is passionate. It's in the passion. And notice how they all the foods, there's variations in how they may cook it and how they may like bag the food and package it. But most of them taste like the exact same. But it's not the same company. It's not like if you go to Taco Bell, and if you go to Taco Bell in Mississippi, then go to Taco Bell in freaking Wisconsin, like you're getting literally the same product, or at least it should be. Like the menu's the same, everything's the same. They get the beef from the same supplier. They get the ingredients, the toppings, whatever the fuck. These places are supposed to be like, I guess, independently run businesses, but they all literally get their food from, I guess, the same place. But if you were to go online, there's not a go to whatever takeout Chinese place. There's no like freaking 1-800, customer service line. There's no corporate place to report stuff to. There's no. It's a janky online website that looks like it was made by a third grader. And that's not a criticism, just like there's no need to put that much effort. But the point is it's not like there's a it's not this mass corporation. But yet they all taste almost the same. Why is that? Wow, we're really getting deep in the weeds here. Did not expect to go here. As you can tell, we never do. That's why it's the Off and Beat podcast. One episode, we're talking about Hassan Piker, Karen Civil. Now we're talking about Americanized takeout Chinese places. The crazy world we live in. But anyways. But why? Why is something that does not have a central corporation and they just replace names left and right, none of it's really trademarked, I would assume, and they're just run by people who just want to like run a little business. And not to make any generalizations, but I would say about 80% of the ones I go to, they always, it's typically like literally like the American dream type of path. It's simply just, regular people, for lack of a better word, just normal people that just take out a business loan and they start a business, and it's like a family business, and it's literally like it's the same people that work there every time you go there, because it's literally like the owner, they'll have a couple employees, and it'll be family oriented. Like they're not having a huge job fair for people like, nah, well, we're covered. Like keep the money in the family type of thing, reliable, don't have to worry about it. You know who you're working with type of thing. It's tight. It's a tight family business. And it's always, typically when I go, it's always like whoever the owner is, they're there 7 days a week, open to close. Like that's their life. This is like what they, and they always have their kids there. Like it's like they'll have their kids there doing homework when they're younger and stuff, and then like if you go somewhere long enough, a couple of years, the next thing you know, you walk in one day and that same kid who was at the table, coloring in crayons and doing homework and his alphabet from school is now taking your order. Probably child labor laws. He's probably not getting paid, but hey, I'm pretty sure he knows how to put in number 17. It's just like, man, like you see like how the mindset of hard work is. It starts from such a young age. It's infiltrated. Like every day after school, you come here, you do your homework, and then you work. Like it's literally like the life. But kind of got off. But these aren't like, there's not a corporation they have to make sure they abide by. They all run it independently, but somehow they all run it very similar. All the prices are pretty much the same. Now, that may be competitive. You gotta know your competitors' prices and make sure you're competing and keeping the prices low, which is good for customers, so we're not being overcharged, blah, blah, blah. To me, though, I'm going to say 92% of these places run good, food service in terms of, I think, it's quality ingredients for the most part. But chances are, we all, if you've eaten there enough, we probably have had a few questionable bites at certain places. Couple bones, a few chewier pieces where it's almost like as you're chewing, you can just hear the cat meowing from, the movie Get Out when he's in that vortex and he's like in hypnosis. You just hear the cat in hypnosis meow as you're chewing that really crunchy ear of theirs. And of course, anytime you're eating orange chicken, all you can think about is those damn orange fucking cats that look like creamsicles. It's like, goddamn, I'm probably eating one of you right now. But for some reason, I don't feel that bad. Okay, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I love cats. They make my eyes itch and sneeze, but not when I eat them. As long as you're deep fried in the 400 degrees and don't put a lot of soy sauce and duck sauce, I can manage your allergies. And I guess the main thing I'm trying to get here about these amazing American Chinese takeout establishments is the consistency. Is what I marvel at. Like I go to just about any of the takeout Chinese places. They all have a combination platter section, which is basically you get fried rice, entree, 2 egg rolls, or 1 egg roll. You get some crab rangoons, you get some fortune cookies, and bam. It was always between, depending on what you get, in between $7.75 to like $9.50 at most, depending on what you get. It's consistency. They all have a very similar menu, but they're all run by completely independently. Why is that? Do they meet at the, Mercedes-Benz business convention and have their, annual, update on business in their field? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. Or maybe they all come from, China, Japan, Hong Kong, or whatever. And there's just a certain way of living in a certain way they know how to make business in America. And there's just one formula that works. And it's just like, man, when you really dive into that world, it's a beautiful construct. I have nothing but respect for them. You learn a lot. I will say this, you learn a lot about the people that work at places when you go there enough. You learn a lot about, without even ever having to speak a word, because reality is the places I go to, there's a language barrier. I typically like they understand English and they may speak it, but it's not very, clear sometimes. So I just kind of like, yeah, I'll take the General Tso chicken with white rice. It's a pretty easy, or I'll point to it. And there's just you tell a lot, just like how they like the consistency and their work ethic, the promptness, and when you get your food. Like the thing about a place like that, it don't matter how fucking busy they could be, slammed with orders and orders. On the busiest of times, I don't think I've ever waited more than like 20 minutes. And I've been a few times where it's 6-7 o'clock on a Friday. They got orders she's calling. They always just have one person up front taking orders. They always have like a couple cooks. And they'll have like 7 people in the lobby, a bunch of people waiting in their cars. And I waited like 20 minutes one time. And I was like, damn, that was fast considering. I went to Culver's fucking Burgers. This American institutionalized where they have 40 fucking employees. I remember I went on the week 1 Monday Night Football. I think it was the Raiders. When the Raiders play on Monday Night Football, right? I fucking went to Culver's. Oh man, this made me heat. I went to Culver's. I would not consider them a fast food place, even though technically they kind of are, but they're not really, because I've never seen them move fast. They have a drive-through that literally they know they take long enough, so they pull people up, and they have a parking after you take your order. It's like, okay, cool. I guess awareness, like, yeah, we're not going to have your food 3 minutes. Like, this stuff takes time to cook, which I appreciate. I don't mind waiting. That's not the point. But I'm trying to make is like, they'll have 4 employees running this takeout Chinese place where they're, people have multiple orders of chicken, complicated. Oh, I want the chicken with this type of rice with this type of chicken, but I want this sauce. Like, I've seen some people complicated fucking orders at these Chinese places. And very rarely do I ever see them get it wrong. Even if they do, it's understandable because I listen to how people order this shit, and it's confusing as fuck. I was like Culver's, and there was like two people. There was two customers, me and two other people. They were in front of me. They ordered, and the line outside was kind of busy, but no. But my thing is, they had like 4 people working up front. They had like 5 people in the drive-thru. They had like 9 people in the back. They had like at least 20 plus people on staff. I'm not even exaggerating. I had a fucking deluxe burger. I ordered a side of like Wisconsin cheddar fucking fried bites. Probably didn't even need to get it. And I had that plus the combo meal with the burger, and that's it. I waited 34 fucking minutes. And let me tell you why I know I waited 34 minutes. Because I remember I walked in exactly. I walked in the building at like 7:57. I ordered, when I got the receipt printed out after I ordered, it was exactly 8 o'clock when I placed the order. Cool. So I was sitting waiting in the lobby. And again, I don't mind I waited 34 minutes. But when I got to thinking, how do they have this many employees and they're not that busy? But then I go to this Chinese place. 4 people have probably just as many customers as you, and they're belting them out back to back to back like Drake. Back to back. Is it because they realize, is it the less is actually more is less? Where there's a minimum amount of employees you need for whatever your situation is. But sometimes if you have a little bit less, but you have very consistent, great workers, you're much better off than when you double the amount of employees who are either lazy, not efficient, or just kind of lackadaisical, not really prompt, not paying attention, than having 4 people that are on the ball paying attention. And that's what that showed me. They literally had 80% less. I don't even know what the right fucking 400% less employees than Culver's. Where they have a hiring process at Culver's. And this is not an indictment on like the employees. That's not the point I'm making here. It's the point of you can have all the employees in the world at a place. But it's about how like the efficiency. Sometimes my belief is sometimes if you have too many employees working at a time at a place where you probably don't need, everyone's gonna naturally just relax. Oh, we're overstaffed. Today's gonna be easy. So everyone has this easy, take it easy mentality that day. So even when you do get a little busy, you're not really like in the mode to like be on it. And the thing, and that Culver's thing, right? Because the thing is, this wasn't just like one. I've been to Culver's like maybe 5 or 6 times in my existence. I had the story about that time with the dude who was on the fucking phone at Culver's. So that situation, on top with the wait, I have a very weird experience. The food's always been good at Culver's. It's not really a bad experience at Culver's, but goddamn, like it's always like something. It's always like something you go there and you're like, why do I feel like they have so many employees? It looks like they have literally employees for each, and somehow it's taken forever. And I'm not even that guy. I'll wait an hour if I like the food. It doesn't bother me. I typically don't have anywhere to be. But also, that night, I was like, all right, I'll order probably 10 to 15 minutes. They don't look that busy. Get my food, head home, and I'll be at home right by kickoff. I didn't get home till like fucking 8 minutes into the first quarter, and I was fucking pissed. Because it could have been, but I'm like, because I probably could have been there early because I was out doing whatever. I could have left that thing. I'm like, you know what? As long as I get there by 8, get home, I'll be good. And I was like, man, I missed 8 minutes of Monday Night Football because of reasons I can't explain. But then I go to a place where they're busting ass. I mean, I'm not saying they're but like 4 people to make all the food for all these people. And you got this place where it's 20 people running a system. And somehow, it's not great. I'm pretty sure if you were to switch places, if you would have took the 4 people that are running, China Walk or whatever, because there's such an efficiency of, boom, like quickness, promptness, just the attentiveness, right? Like, very rarely have I ever seen an employee at one of these places like just be sitting doing nothing or like just chilling. Like, it seems like there's a pride aspect to their job. On a serious note, like there's a pride aspect. Like, they take a lot of pride in, you know, doing putting their best foot forward and putting their best effort. If you would take those 4 people, have them work at Culver's, the only issue probably would have been the language barrier, but because I would say typically customers that go to Culver's seem to be kind of ass wipes. Just in my observation, Mr. Dude on his fucking phone. Like, get your girlfriend's order before you fucking go there. God damn it. And if you'd have had those 4 people run the whole store at Culver's, I feel like their service and everything would probably be better once they like learned how to do all this shit, because it's the people and the promptness and what they're doing. I guess the moral of today's episode is just be better at your fucking jobs. And this comes from a person that technically doesn't have one. So moral of the story is, again, is don't poke the bear, even if the stranger's starting to look like one. Be nice. If you're going for a walk, then just go for a fucking walk. You don't have to cause stir. You don't have to belittle someone. You don't have to tell someone that, oh, you look... You sure you haven't looked better before? Because you know what? Anything you say, they probably already know. That's the thing. Most people know when their body has changed. People know when they don't look as good as they used to. Because you know why? They feel it. People don't gain 70 pounds and like, I look the exact same. Now, they may convince themselves and it may not affect them as much. Like, yeah, I've gained weight. It's whatever. I know what I need to do. But then some people, it genuinely fucks with them and it affects them. So don't think like you're the one like, I don't know if you know. But Jesus Christ. Who you been hibernating with? It's like, yeah. It's like, yeah, no, they literally feel it. They see it. Like, the person you see yourself, the things you see most in the day is yourself. There's too many mirrors in the world, and I don't mean Black Mirror. Anyways, that's episode 60 of the Off and Beat podcast. Synopsis of today's episode. Embrace your local takeout Chinese place. They have some of the, in my experience, they have the most consistent service. And they don't need a corporation to make sure they're on top of their shit. They don't need they probably don't even get paychecks. They probably just like, it's probably word. It's probably all about your word. It's about coming to work, do your job. And there's no fucking union. It's like, all right. But yeah, less is more. All right, episode 60 of the Off and Me podcast. Subscribe and like the vid. If you made it this far, don't forget to leave a review. I don't know where you leave reviews. I think Apple Podcasts, you can leave a fucking review. Leave one for the boy. What can be improved, what you like, what you don't. Even if you completely hate it, leave a 1-star. I don't give a fuck. But yeah, most importantly, suck some titties and have a great day. And go get yourself. And don't eat a kitty cat unless it's from Dollar Scoop on the shelf. By the way, I don't think cats are like... I'm not saying cats should be eaten. All I'm saying is we've all probably had a couple. Maybe you didn't know it. I'm not saying you should constantly sit there. It just, if you see a dead cat and bring it home like you would some elk meat. But I consider like incidental contact, except with your mouth. And make sure you scrub the fuck out of your teeth after, because you're a sick fuck.